Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their but they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Welcome back to your Valley Sports Plug Live. It's Tuesday, August 11th, 2026, and I'm your host, Chris Patrick. Tonight, former Arizona Cardinals GM Steve DUI Keim is implicated in an e-commerce scam. The beckoning begins, but the Redbirds come up just short in the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. Your Arizona Diamondbacks show the Los Angeles Dodgers who their daddy is, and Dillon the villain gets an extension, ensuring the Suns will be mid for years to come. Guys, before we get into all that and so much more, I got to introduce to you my co-host tonight, Mr. Michael Benjamin and VSP Tallman. What's going on, fellas?
Chris the Hater in full form. I love it. Now, we do have a bunch of news tonight, but I would say the most important news is that Larry Fitzgerald is finally going to be enshrined into the Ring of Honor for the Arizona Cardinals. Mark your calendars for October 25th. The VSP boys have already secured their tickets and will be in attendance. It was a no-brainer since Tallman wouldn't go with me to Canton. Tallman, how you doing, man?
I'm doing so much better because I'm not, or I didn't go to Canton. Could you imagine the Canton hangover right now? Oh, geez, man. No, I'm just joking. Of course, I'm going with you on October 25th. And I won't lie, I did not watch this past Saturday of Larry Fitzgerald getting into the Hall of Fame.
It was like 15 minutes. You haven't even watched it back on YouTube yet?
No. No, I didn't.
I know you're a busy man, but not busy enough to get that handled by now. That's ridiculous.
I'm such a bad fan.
In the Big 2-6, you got so many options to do and watch this type of stuff, and you just completely don't even consider it. That's unbelievable, Tallman. I haven't seen it yet either.
See? Okay. Oh my goodness.
Guys.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, when we record Heat Check on Sunday, we'll just include that as part of the podcast, so then we can record you guys shedding a little bit of a tear for one Larry.
That's exactly what Chris and I intended to do. We wanted to make content out of it. So
a live reaction video. Yeah. Exactly. I like it. Yes, that's right. This Sunday, we are getting together to record the August Heat Check podcast in person. It is our once a month podcast recording where we get together, and every year, this is the one we go through the Cardinals schedule game by game and give our predictions. The Heat Check podcast, though, is just our once a month in-person podcast recording. That goes on all audio podcast streaming services. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we put the video right here on our YouTube channel, Valley Sports Plug. So make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with everything Valley Sports Plug. You can also catch us at our links in the description below, mostly at AZ_VSP on Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, so much more. You can also scan this lovely QR code right here in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Grab the closest phone to you and go ahead and scan that off your phone. It's like a phoneception thing going on. But anyway, we have a lot to get into. So let's just dive right in, guys. News kind of broke. Mike, you were telling me about this Sunday when we were hooping. So I'm not going to give this much of an intro. I'm going to let you tell the people, but Steve Keim is doing some scheme slime stuff, as DeAndre Hopkins would say.
I don't know. He might be. I think they're just allegations as the time has begun. But if you guys haven't seen this story, this honestly is a crazy one. And I'm going to stick to the e-commerce part because we all know DeAndre Hopkins had some comments, and I'm sure we'll touch on those as well. But it looks like some notable NFL guys: Philadelphia Eagles Jalen Carter and Nakobe Dean, Titans safety Terrell Edmonds, and some former players like linebacker Tay Crowder and running back Matt Breida. Man, a name blast from the past right there. Just a few of the names looking to recoup millions of dollars in funds from a company called Motion Venture. Never heard of it, obviously, but we all know about it now. And this situation stems from a 24-year-old former registered securities broker named Mohammed Kalabali, who offered investors to put their money into e-commerce stores. It's very common nowadays, especially like Chris would say in the big 2-6. But once investors received their initial investments back, they were encouraged to pull their money into more Shopify stores in hopes of building the company's value. And if all conditions were met, it was stated that Kalabali would supposedly divide the profits between himself and the investors. But the websites were reportedly built using e-commerce platform Shopify, and they showed fake sales for a multitude of items like motorized water guns, handheld fans, and smartphone cases. And this goes back, guys, to February. There were financial allegations that were laid out in a February 23rd complaint to the Securities and Exchange Commission's whistleblower office, the FBI, and Pennsylvania banking regulators. And it seems like a lot of people were duped because in a November 2025 pitch deck by Motion Venture, it listed a bunch of notable clients and partners like former NBA All-Star John Wall, multiple pro soccer players, and even entertainers like T Grizzly and YG. That's crazy. But this is where we care about this story, because reports are that Seattle Seahawks GM and president of football operations John Snyder was introduced to this investment opportunity by the one and only Steve Keim, the former GM of the Arizona Cardinals. And I don't know if he currently is, but at the time was an associate of Clutch Sports. And this is big, man, because Keim was listed as Motion Ventures Chief Operations / Growth Officer, which listed him to lead strategic growth initiatives, build partnerships, manage large budget, and navigate high-stakes decision-making. And he did state that he worked with Kalabali and promoted the company to friends and family members because he believed in it. And he himself was seeing profits from his own Shopify investments. But with that being said, Keim is now switching up and stating that he is a victim of the situation. He said he never received a salary or insurance and took an eventual 7-figure loss in his investment. He stated Kalabali used him to legitimize his business, and he was never given access to funds or bank accounts, and he was only showed snippets which made him question and confront the legitimacy of Motion Venture. And it seems like just a few days before July 31st, Keim went to Philadelphia to meet with some of the bankers regarding the company and relay his findings to these investors, to apologize and to convey hope that they would eventually be able to get their money back. Like we said, obviously, these are all investigations. This is ongoing situation. But the big situation about this here, folks, is that the 24-year-old Mohammed Kalabali, the main entity accused behind the scam, was found dead in a swimming pool in New Jersey on July 31st, just days after Keim's travel to Philadelphia and banker meetings. I have thoughts, but I want to pass it to whoever has it first, because now you know what's going on. What do you think about this?
Oh, yeah, that is a lot to digest. Man, I mean, I guess we got to speak a little bit carefully here. As much as we do love to joke, like Mike said, these are just accusations or allegations, however you want to frame it. He has obtained legal counsel. One thing that Steve Keim can't get away from is the fact that he goes on podcasts and can't even buy a $40 microphone. He uses like AirPod headphones, but that's a totally separate thing. So I kind of knew he was a little scammy potentially when I started seeing that stuff. But I don't know, it's weird because I was also seeing an article not long ago where Keim was trying to make a return to like an NFL job. Like I think he wants to be a GM or something again. And now this story, the DeAndre Hopkins story, and like you Google his name and it's all this stuff that's coming up. It's very interesting, very shady. The high profile names, Mike, I didn't even know that a lot of those guys, like you were saying, John Wall and those other guys were implicated or I guess defrauded in this as well. I don't know, man. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe there's some truth to it. Maybe he did just get caught up into it and he's a victim just like everyone else, but not a good look when you're kind of not necessarily the face, but one of the more high profile people leading the charge rather than just investing. But curious to know what you think, Tallman.
Yeah, wow, what a story. So this came to light in a story published on July 15th, but didn't we just kind of just hear about it after the whole Hall of Fame induction of Larry Fitzgerald? Like, I feel like I saw these photos of him. You guys probably saw the photos. It was like Keim, Wisenhunt, Bruce Arians, and Michael Bidwell all out in Canton. And then I feel like right after that, this story kind of broke. It's like, damn, of course, it was the DeAndre Hopkins tweet. I think that kind of grabbed all of our attention. Like, oh God, let's see what this is all about. But man, what a story here. I know obviously he's not connected to the Cardinals, so it's not like, oh, look at us again. Here's the Cardinals in the news. But yeah, this seems pretty serious. It doesn't seem like it's going to go away. Obviously, we all mentioned he's got the legal counsel. And then, do we even want to touch on the D-Hop comment? I mean, that just seems like total trash. Or I mean, like, do we waste our time on it? I don't know. There's no way that he was involved.
No, I think, let me pull it up obviously here for you, Tallman. But, you know, when we were texting the other day, you just kind of got to reiterate what I think a lot of us feel like as well. This is obviously a secondary kind of situation comparative to this e-commerce thing. This e-commerce thing is a real situation. We obviously don't know. Accusations are accusations until everything is figured out and the muddy waters are pushed to the side. We don't know, but this seemed more like kind of like a frustration situation from DeAndre Hopkins, because this was on a post on an Instagram page or TikTok from a different guy who was just kind of doing his own sideline reports. But he did state within what he was talking about that there was possible other situations from Steve Keim that claimed that he had lost a player millions of dollars. And then DeAndre put this up. This has obviously been deleted so far. And, you know, before I take all of it, Tallman, you know, we were texting. It's like the NFLPA and the NFL in general have their own third-party companies that do all the drug testing. Unless Steve Keim is truly kingpin and is in the pockets of like a bunch of people, I don't think there's any way that he could have somehow contaminated a drug test. He wouldn't have even seen it. He wouldn't have been able to get his hands on it. So that was a secondary thing. I guess if you wanted to throw any 2 cents comments on it, because it was kind of D-Hop.
Yeah,
this is the bigger claim out of anything, which is like, whoa, you got to be careful the way that you approach anything like this.
It is crazy because he missed 6 games. He didn't lose $13 million. So I think D-Hop needs to go back and do some calculations, because there's no way he wasn't. How much was he making that last year? He wasn't making enough that he lost $13 million in six games, right? Because you lose that game check if you're suspended, blah, blah, blah. But with this, it's like, I even heard someone throw out the idea of like Steve Keim spiked his drink. Like, how insane is that? Like, come on. I mean, it's just such a funny story, and smart on D-Hop to delete that tweet, even though it was probably screenshotted a million times, because that dude's got to be careful, man, because those are some damning words he put out there. That's a damning allegation.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate this number is, but he was D-Hop was on a 2-year, $54 million extension, so he was making about $27.25 million a year. Were they playing 17 games yet back then?
I believe so.
And then you said he missed what, 6 games?
Yeah.
So if my math is correct,
wasn't it the 2022 season that he was suspended to start? Or am I wrong? Did I miss that?
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe he could have still been on his Texans contract. I don't know. Either way, 13 million. I don't know where he gets that number from either, because even with me crunching the numbers here, it only comes to her at like a little less than 10. Regardless, I mean, the point is he did lose money, and I agree with you guys, though. I don't see how, like, other than, yeah, if Steve Keim spiked his drink, like, obviously I'm not going to say there's no way. And it obviously, you know, these things happen. These guys have trainers, they're getting fed stuff all the time, and it seemed like it was a pretty obscure thing. It's not like it was like anabolic steroids or something. Like, it was some random, like, whatever the whatever the hell. And he was like, yeah, I don't know where it came from. Kind of like the Max Kepler thing. It's like, yeah, I don't know, guys. Beats me. That's like, obviously that's what they're all going to say. It's like they kind of have to, because if they just come out and you're like, yeah, I did steroids, and it's like you get like, I don't know. Has anybody ever done that? Like,
yeah, didn't A-Rod do that? Obviously,
he
wasn't actively playing, but he admitted to it.
Oh yeah, it's so easy to admit to wrongdoing after you're not playing anymore.
Yes, it is.
So I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, like D-Hop could have been just like, yeah, like, so, but he's still like, post career. I know he said, I think he's come out recently and said he wants to play again, but I don't know. He's kind of up there. But I don't know. The whole thing's weird. Obviously, being involved in multiple negative stories in a row is not a good look. Steve Keim does have a bit of a checkered past as well. I mentioned in the intro the DUI he received in Chandler, the slums. And he got that while he was still the GM of the team. There was the whole I think it was his last season, the Mexico trip, where the one coach was dismissed, but it just so happened the coach looked exactly like Steve Keim. So maybe it was a fall guy situation. I don't know. It's just like either this guy has the worst luck of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or he truly is kind of a scumbag. I'll let you make your own inferences there. I have my opinions, but yeah, it's a fun story for the former Arizona Cardinals unemployed GM, Steve Keim there. Mike, do you have any last thoughts on the whole Steve Keim saga?
No, I think, we were talking about before the stream started how everybody's being very cautious about this situation. Everybody is not showing their hand on their true feelings or anything like that. I think because obviously it's still accusations, you don't know what the true situation is. We're throwing the D-Hop thing off to the side. Let's be honest. I think somebody even tweeted that they were on an airplane home with Steve Keim and they talked to him and he was bent out of shape about his comments. So he's like, why would I do that to my star wide receiver? I need him to play for us to win. You stay employed in the NFL when you win. So, that's a separate fact. But what did you say, Chris? When there's smoke, there's fire. There's just been too many situations with Steve Keim of true negativity, obviously throughout the kind of final years of his career as the GM with the Arizona Cardinals. And now this kind of stuff happens. I think you put it to a T. Like he might be running with the wrong crowd still. And you're just always hopeful people can turn around their lives, but who knows? This is something that I will be keeping a keen eye on, because this is one of the crazier stories that we've heard. And like I said, my last points will be too. Scams happen every day, but it's not every day when the main culprit is killed and lying in a pool in New Jersey. This is not the end of this story, guys, but we'll be keeping tabs on it.
I do want to add one thing. It's about D-Hop. So he was right about the 13 million. So I just want to clear that up because I don't want us to be wrong, even though we were wrong. I guess it was some language in his contract where it was 13 million in guaranteed money, that if he was suspended for the PEDs, that he had the maximum forfeiture language in there. And also, this is as reported by this Fox News article, okay? Breaking news right here. The suspension also voided Hopkins' no trade clause, giving Keim greater flexibility and eventually moving on from the 5-time Pro Bowl receiver. So, whoa, oh my gosh.
I don't know, man. I mean, good points, though.
Why you got to do that, Tallman?
It's like Mike's made some good points. Like Steve Keim was like, why would I do that? That's my star wide receiver. And then Tallman comes in with the good points. I mean, everyone always wants leverage. And I mean, hey, I don't know. But now Steve Keim, after that season, Steve Keim became unemployed and hasn't worked in the NFL since. So you gotta do the cost benefit analysis there. And maybe he's just not good at math. But apparently D-Hop is. So thank you for setting the record straight, Tallman. That was good information. Love the live fact check there. But guys, yeah, let's move on from Steve Keim. I'm sure, like Mike said, this ain't done. We'll talk about it again. Especially curious what what is it, Mohammed Koulibaly? I'm curious if we ever learn what his true cause of death is. If it was natural, drowning, or something more fortuitous. I don't know, but I don't know if fortuitous was the right word there. Just trying to sound smart, guys.
It's all right. Just wait for that documentary, and then we'll get to see the whole story, and then we'll get to see Mr. AZ in the documentary defending Steve Keim, and
when they're all okay.
So you might be right about that.
You'll have his mic on a fork. The
Netflix documentary is coming in less than 2 years. They turn that shit around pretty fast. So we'll have all of our answers soon.
Soon enough. That's right. So, guys, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals some more, but in a better context. And it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. Happened last Thursday. We're very excited for it. And honestly, it was well received around the league. I think all football fans were just happy to be watching some football again, even if it was a meaningless, as I keep calling it, a preseason game in the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. But yeah, we got to see Carson Beck start. So that gave Cardinals fans a little taste of what they've been craving. And man, you see it here with the X post Mike's got pulled up here from Evan Siddery. Hope I pronounced that right. The NFL Hall of Fame preseason game drew 7 million viewers. The NBA didn't have a regular season game hit this mark. Hall of Fame game, 7 million. Spurs v Thunder, 6.7 million. Cavaliers versus Knicks, Christmas, 6.4 million. And Mavericks versus Warriors, 6.1 million. All three of those NBA games were Christmas Day games. So yeah, obviously America loves its football. And even if it's meaningless preseason action, you love to see it. But it was a good game. It was close. It was back and forth. You got to see a lot of no-name guys get some good runs. You got some good passes in there. But most importantly, as Mike has deemed it, the beckoning. It is the beckoning. Yes, Carson Beck got the start, was 15 for 19 with 188 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and a passer rating of 125.4. He even took 1 sack like a man and got back into it. Then we got Keaton Slovis for the second half, and he didn't do too bad either. But I think before I pass it over to you guys for your thoughts, the one thing that really impressed me was that back shoulder throw to the corner of the end zone, that lone touchdown, kind of like perked up the eyes a little bit. It was like, wait a minute, we could have something here. Now everyone's going to say pump the brakes. It's preseason. You going against not even third stringers, practice squad guys, basically, let's hold on and wait. But I think I think we're allowed to be excited when lately Cardinals fans have had nothing to be excited about. But Mike, what was your reaction to the Pro Football Hall of Fame game?
Well, at first I have to echo the exact sentiment that you just said. You got to realize where us Cardinals fans are sitting right now. It's been a tumultuous state since 2021 where we thought we had answers and we haven't. This is the first display of somebody that's new in the building, a breath of fresh air, and looked so confident in the first time that he put on that Arizona Cardinals uniform. Yes, it's against second and primarily third stringers, but he commanded the offense, guys. He looked great. He looked under control. He made his checks when he needed to. He had a pocket presence that honestly, guys, we haven't seen since Carson Palmer. So to have a larger quarterback is something that we haven't had in 7 years. So the game is going to look so different. But it's so positive to see him go out there. And he truly showed all the colors that he has from his time going back to high-profile college football and the consistency and the success that he had when he was at Georgia and Miami. So this is awesome to see. I cannot wait for Thursday. I know that we're going to get into kind of some final camp updates as well. We're going to see QB number 1, Jacoby Brissett. But man, like Tallman had said on a couple of streams, a while ago before the games really kicked off, we're going to get to see Carson Beck a good amount during the preseason. And I just can't wait for it. I need more of it.
Oh, yeah. And I think it was Mike LaFleur today came out and said the starters will play on Thursday, which means, and including Jacoby Brissett, which means we will see him. We will get to see some Jeremiah Love action, some Michael Wilson. I know Tallman is just giddy with excitement to be able to see that Brissett to Wilson connection once again. But before we get ahead to what's coming this Thursday, Tom, I'll go back to last Thursday. What did you see out there from the Cardinals?
Is the Michael Wilson thing ever going to die? I already came out and said I am behind this guy, so you guys need to leave me alone. All right. So last Thursday, no, that was it was hard not to overreact. I mean, the next Friday was literally the Friday overreactions of every Cardinal fan. And it was the way too soon of is Carson Beck going to start week 1? Carson Beck's not going to start week 1. There's no way. And there's 15 million reasons why he's not starting week 1, because Jacoby Brissett got paid. But it was great to see. I mean, you pretty much nailed it, Mike. The kid looks so comfortable. And then you got to remember, though, his last game prior to that Hall of Fame game was in the college football national championship. Like, the lights are not too bright for him in Canton. So, and obviously he played 500 games in college. The kid's got a ton of experience, but it was great to see him comfortable there in his first, NFL type game, regardless of who it was against. It showed that, he's in command of that offense. He's got a good understanding, looks comfortable at the line too, man. I mean, you're already said it, Mike, his checks at the line. What do they call the quarterback cadence, right? He just sounded so confident in there. And it was great to see some of those plays that he executed, even going to the red and white practice, dude. I think we went to the wrong red and white practice. We should have went this year instead of last year, where he's over there doing the Pat Mahomes no-look pass to end the red and white practice. And he got a ton of praise towards the end of that practice too. So the stock is high, but the Cardinals fans, we need to chill. We need to chill a little bit. And again, we're going to see him a bunch more in this preseason. But hey, I'm just excited that we have something to be excited about when we're going into a season where Vegas thinks we're going to win 3 football games. So it's good. And I know, Mike, you said in the text too, where I was like, all right, relax. He's playing against the 3rd and 4th stringers. And then you banged your hand on the table, metaphorically speaking. We want something nice to have or to be excited about and to root for. And Carson Beck is doing everything for us right now.
Yeah, and again, he's going to get a lot of run in preseason, so I'm excited to see what he'll bring to the table. Beck aside, Mike, what are you most looking forward to seeing throughout the rest of preseason? Is it Jeremiah Love? Is it the receiver group? What are you looking at?
Well, let's start. Number 1 is going to be the extensions that need to happen of our long-term left tackle, Paris Johnson Jr., and the man that you can see on the graphic here, Michael Wilson. Now, Monty Ossenfort finally stepped in front of the media yesterday, and I didn't hear exactly what I wanted to hear. Theo Mackey said, Monty said the Cardinals want Michael Wilson here for a long time, but stopped short of saying he expects to get an extension done. Expect, that's a tough word. I know that we have so many different weapons in the offense. Obviously, now that you bring in Jeremiah Love, who's supposed to be another generational talented, toted alongside with Marvin Harrison Jr. But guys, we know the more weapons, the better. And especially for wide receivers, you need to have a tandem if you're really going to be successful from the offensive side of the football this year. So those extensions are the main things that I'm looking to see get done before week 1 hits. Obviously, I'm excited that the starters will be playing. During the Jonathan Gannon era, there were a couple, I think the first 2 years where they didn't, and then the final year they finally did. I'm a big proponent of you got to get your feet wet and you got to get your rhythm going. And it's sometimes you need that game action. It can't just be from week 1. That's why we saw really slow starts consistently from Jonathan Gannon's team until, funny enough, last season when we won our first 2 games, but then we didn't win basically ever again, either than that. So really excited to see Jeremiah Love finally get on the field. Really excited to see a healthy Marvin Harrison Jr., next gear Michael Wilson, a revamped offensive line, and then guys like Darius Robinson and Walter Nolan III, who had another scare in practice the other day. This time it was his hand, but he was back, and today was technically the last day of training camp. So everything is going to transition back to Tempe like normal. And we're expecting big years out of these guys, man. Are we expecting a lot of wins? You're going to have to find out on Heat Check podcast next week. But big years are necessary from these young players, especially if Monty Ossenfort wants to be the GM in 2027. So there's still a lot to look forward to, even if you think this team is going to stink.
Yeah, hey, they're going to keep it interesting. That's for sure. I'm worried about Walter Nolan. I'm starting to identify a trend here, and I hope that he, is just a few speed bumps and he can just, overcome it, move right on, become that player we all hope he is. But I hate to throw out the injury-prone moniker and language, but man, you just never know. All right, before we move off of the Cardinals, because we will have plenty of Cardinals talk over the coming months into the colder months. Tallman, do you have any last thoughts on your Redbirds?
Yeah, so just to kind of touch on what I'm looking for preseason wise, it's so they say the starters are going to play against the Raiders a little bit. Obviously, every Cardinal fan is watching with a close eye when Jeremiah Love's going to get his first touch, but not just Jeremiah Love. It's what does this LaFleur offense look like, right? So that's it with Nathaniel Hackett as well. Like, I'm just really curious what that's going to look like. I want to see what Jacoby is going to be able to do with it. I'm anticipating we're going to see some more deep ball, play action, establish the run, deep ball. I don't want to see some of this boring dinking and dunking crap that we've seen all the time, but I'm just hyper focused on how Love fits into that mixture here. And it could be fun stuff, guys. Even though we don't have high expectations, but maybe we'll find something special here.
That's a great point. I'm also curious to see when the game kicks off on Thursday, is the Cardinals depth chart on their official website true and accurate? Is Tyler Algier RB1 and Jeremiah Love RB2, or is it kind of a 1A, 1B situation? I think there's a lot of people expecting that will be the case, but I mean, got to give the rookie some run. You draft him high, you're paying him a lot of money. So hope we see a good amount of the kid. And I expect, regardless of if he's first or second on that depth chart, he's going to get equal to the same number of carries as Tyler Algier. But yeah, chomping at the bit to see the young kid, and what, like you said, the offense, what Michael LaFleur offense looks like should be interesting. You can catch that this Thursday, kicking off at 5 p.m. I think it's going to be on one of the local channels, I believe CBS 5. Check your local listings for the channel. But fellas, plenty more to get into. We're about halfway through the stream. Your Arizona Diamondbacks have been on a tear, and they tore the Los Angeles Dodgers a new one. I think, what was it, Tallman? Keep me honest here. 7 of the last 10 matchups with the Dodgers, the Dbacks have been successful somewhere in that realm. They did win the series over the weekend, 2-3, and could have swept them had things gone a little bit differently there on Saturday night. But hey, we'll take the wins on Friday and Sunday. The walk-off from Ryan Waldschmidt on Friday was absolutely electrifying. Just when we thought all hope was lost, the kid comes through, hitting his second career home run at the most opportune time, and they walked that one off 4-3. Of course, on Saturday, we saw the 2-1 loss in extras, and I know Mike's going to talk about it, our lack of a first baseman truly showing and shining bright as Tim Tawa kind of flubbed the line drive. Tough play, but one that you got to make if you're standing on first there. And then Sunday, the 4-2 victory with Erod pitching, 7 incredible innings, and the bullpen came in. Kevin Ginkel close that one out. Did he close out? Could be wrong there. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Let you guys share your thoughts. Mike, no. You know what? Mike, shut up. Tallman, I want to know, you're the baseball guy here. You're the baseball guy. What did you see over the weekend from the D-backs?
Yeah, man. How about it? I mean, it's what this really told me is, why are we ever afraid of the Dodgers? Why are we afraid of this big payroll? Why are we afraid of all these superstars, the best players in baseball? I mean, look at Kyle Tucker. That dude's getting paid like $60 million a year to suck ass in a Dodgers jersey. So this is what's been so great about this season is the D-backs have absolutely whooped ass in our division, and there's no doubt about it. Up and down that division, we have just been kings of it, and it's incredible. And the sweetest one of it all, of course, is the Dodgers. And this series here, and I wish I could have gone to one of the games because, oh boy, you guys, if you were watching any of those games, you could tell there was a good 50-50, as it always is at Chase Field when the Dodgers come to town. There's a lot of Dodgers fans, and boy, Friday night, if you're there in that walk-off, that would have been so incredible walking out of that stadium. Chris, you would have probably got arrested after that game, I'm sure, after all the jarring and shit talking you'd be doing. But no, it's great. I mean, what's even more special about this is you look at some of the numbers here. So we won that series 2-3, And I think we only scored a total of 9 runs in all 3 games combined, which is crazy, right? We didn't let the Dodgers absolutely destroy us offensively. That starts with our starting pitching, which was just solid. And then if you look at the superstars of the Dodgers, man, I think Shohei Ohtani had 1 hit the entire series. I mean, he just looked baffled at the plate. Someone who historically destroys Chase Field and Freddie Freeman, I think he also had 1 hit. So it was just incredible what this team could do to shut the main guys down. And man, the walk-off couldn't have been more sweet. Saturday night, boy, did I shed a tear there. I mean, you're in the 9th inning. You get those back-to-back triples in the 9th inning, dude, which it seemed like the roof of that building was going to pop off. It was so crazy in there. And you have no outs with the runner on third, and you can't get the guy home. I mean, you can't at least tie it. So it did feel like we got robbed a little bit, but I mean, it's just, this shows you right here. We can play with these guys. We can play with the big dogs. And guess what? We didn't even buy at the damn deadline. What the hell is that? And we were looking at the Dodgers. They're paying God knows how much more money than we are. And we're in there and we're stealing their lunch money every single time. So it's a beautiful feeling when you can say that you beat the Dodgers up that good. And I want to say, was that our first regular season series win since 2018? I think what was said on the broadcast, which it's just, that's so hard to believe because I feel like we've just had their number recently, but I think I have recency bias, I believe. But what a hell of a series. This team is absolutely on fire and I'm loving it.
Yeah, and what we lack in trade deadline acquisitions, like we had said, maybe we're getting some of these guys back. Sounds like Lawler's right around the corner, and reports are that Justin Martinez will join the team on this upcoming road trip, possibly in Atlanta, more likely in Boston. I'm pulling up an article now. It says he hit 102.4 miles per hour on a pitch in a rehab outing. So you love to see it. Our flamethrowing closer comes back just in time for them to DFA Paul Sewald and remove him from this roster once again. But Mike, I've been seeing a lot of Dodgers fans online because I kind of run in these circles on the interweb. I feel like the only way I can describe it is coping. They're saying things like, oh, the Dbacks and their fans are acting like they won the World Series. Oh, it's just a regular season game. We don't even care. And then posting all sorts of pictures with the 2 championship trophies. But I think there's plenty of reason to celebrate winning the first season series since 2018. What do you think?
Oh, 100%. We have to take the small victories as a technical small market team, right? We don't have the payroll to go out and pull a Tarek Skubal like the Dodgers do. Pull a Kyle, I wouldn't imagine if Kyle Schwarber is going to be the next guy that ends up in LA. It's just any kind of big ticket person. Always pencil in the Dodgers at this point. That's why, the eventual lockout is happening, but that's besides the point. I think the metrics are since 2023, when the Diamondbacks swept the Dodgers in the division series, they're over 500 against the Dodgers. I think they're 22-20. So that's a positive because in the eyes of the MLB, the Dodgers are the big bad. Everybody hates them. And honestly, everybody is still scared of them. To a certain point, you should be. But the Diamondbacks have years of track record now that they compete with this team. And it's beautiful to see. And it just kind of shows where they're standing right now overall since the All-Star break. Everything is coming up roses, it seems like, either than the trade deadline. But everything is also coming to fruition from what Tallman talked about before the season started. The health is coming back to this team. We saw Corbin Burns doing long toss out in the outfield today. He will be back, honestly, before you even know it. We had Michael Soroka come back from he pulled his ass cheek. Is that what happened? I heard. Had a great night last night. 77 pitches over 4 1/3. And then, newly acquired Zach Littell, I think is how you say it, from Washington, came in only 45 pitches in 4 2/3. So Diamondbacks are fighting right now. Mitch Bratt just gave up a 2-run home run, so that game is tied. But what this team has done right now is give you confidence in that if a team rallies, the Diamondbacks are going to rally back. And you can see the metrics right now that this team truly is one of the best teams in baseball since the All-Star break. 4th in record, 3rd in runs per game, 3rd in team batting average, 4th in OPS, and 4th in ERA. We're going to celebrate all the wins we can right now because there's hope. There's actual hope right now that this team can continue to push momentum to a wild card berth. And all systems are go for this Diamondbacks team, man. It's exciting. It's very, very exciting. I will be at the Chicago Cubs Wednesday day game. And man, I can't wait. I wonder what kind of crowd it's going to be even on a Wednesday afternoon. People should be there. Get your tickets. Get to the ballpark right now, folks.
Mike, I love a day game. Don't get me wrong. I don't blame you. I can't do it, man. The Cubs, the Yankees, the Dodgers, those are games at Chase Field that I cannot attend because it's going to be another 50-50 split with the fan base.
Well, yeah. Well, technically I'm going for work. So, I had to go, you know what I'm saying? So, but hey, so you're telling me when the Yankees come, you don't want to go to the special giveaway when they're doing the 25th anniversary, like pinstripe jersey? You don't want to do that? Come on.
It is funny that I mentioned that because I think it was either last season or the season before when the Yankees were here. I did go to that game. And I want to say the Dbacks won, can't remember, but it was like I remember seeing clips from that where it's like Anthony Volpe hit a line drive into the outfield or something, and like they you just hear the crowd erupt, and he's going to run to first base, and it's just blue and gray all in the stands, and everyone was like, I thought they were on the road trip. Oh no, that's Chase Field. Oh, that's right. Diamondbacks fans stay at home and watch the game on TV. I don't know, man. That's a whole nother conversation that we've had time and time again. It's sad, the transplant nature. It'll never not make me sad. But yeah, Cubs are gonna be Cubs fans in droves.
Cubs are bad too. Yeah, I've been to one before, and it's comparable to the Dodgers for sure.
Yeah, because it's like they got kind of like loud, obnoxious fans. Like they got that like Chicago attitude, right?
Yeah. Well, I went with a couple Chicago fans. So, and yeah, they are actually loud and obnoxious. So,
well, hopefully the Diamondbacks do their job because we know Greg, who's in our fantasy baseball team, is far and above the best team. So if his team wins that series and he whoops our ass in fantasy baseball, I'm not going to hear the end of it. So at this point, we at least need the Diamondbacks to do their job. So that's why I'll be there to root them on. I'll face the blue and white. That's fine with me.
Mike, let's just hope that my eat or what not eat. I can't find the right word tonight, guys. But my belief that you can't have it all, right? You can't have your bet hit, you can't have your fantasy team win, and you can't have your actual team that you root for win all happen at the same time. You can have two of the three. Of course, you can have one of the three, but you can't have all three. So if Greg already has his fantasy team winning, I don't know if he's a gambling man. So maybe he already has that working for him. He can always feel safe having two of the three, but he can't also have the Cubs win. I agree, Mike. I hope that the Cubs show up and do their job. But that aside, I do hope you have fun, get some content, put it out there. Tallman, I got a little sidetracked here, but I did want to ask you, we were talking about the trade deadline a little bit, the lack of moves, but they have made a few moves since then. Of course, I referenced dumping Paul Sewald to reinstate Michael Soroka, but they also agreed to terms with a right-handed pitcher who was designated for assignment by the Washington Nationals in Zach Littell. He was getting some action last night, came in relief for Michael Soroka, and actually ended up getting the win, I think. What do you think of that signing? I know his ERA on the season is not very impressive. He's sitting at like just right under 5 ERA, but first appearance seems to have done a pretty good job in 4 2/3 innings of work.
Yeah, I mean this is a direct result of the Paul Sewald DFA, because when Paul Sewald got demoted in the bullpen, obviously he was at the bottom of that list. So he turned into being in a spot where he's that bullpen guy that you need to get some length from. And that's exactly what Littell gives you. Because Littell, he was a starting pitcher, and he did not do so hot. Obviously, if you get DFA'd, you were not doing the best, right? But Littell, he had a lot of trouble. I mean, his ERA is way up there. He had a lot of trouble with the long ball. I think he gave up 20 home runs as a starter, and then pitching out of the pen in relief, he gave up 5. So there is some worry there, but he's that guy he's going to come out and give you length where, I mean, you go up 7-0 against the Rockies last night. You're sitting there, you're cruising to a win. You put in a guy like Zach Littell, and he pitches the rest of the game, and the whole bullpen gets a night off. And that's a huge win. Not only do you win the game, but everyone is super fresh for the next day and going forward. So, hey, I mean, he looked serviceable in his first time in a Dbacks jersey, but I don't anticipate him emerging in any high leverage situation. He's just that arm in the pen that I think Torrey was saying he can give you 90 pitches on a night if you need it. So he's going to be in there for winning big, or he's going to be in there for getting her ass absolutely kicked. So, but hey, it's okay. You need to be versatile in that bullpen, and Littell gives you that. And unfortunately, Sewald had to go.
Yeah, it was interesting when he came back. Loved what he gave us early on with all the saves, and then completely fell off a cliff. So I get the Paul Sewald DFA. But with Littell, I mean, Tallman, it's a great call out that he was a starter, now expected to kind of play that long reliever role for the time being. And I think it could work great because there's another guy, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe AJ Puck kind of had a similar arc where he struggled as a starting pitcher, got moved to the bullpen, and then became kind of I don't want to say an ace closer. Is that a thing? An ace closer is a really good closer. And obviously we're missing him now, and he's not going to come back this season. But, you know, there's a place for that long reliever. And then September, right around the corner, less than a month away. And you get that expanded roster. So maybe he gets to stay when you get guys like Corbin Burns back. Mike, I do want to get your thoughts on the Paul Sewald DFA, of course, but also curious what we're going to do with Zach Gallen. It sounds like reports are today in things Torey Lovullo was saying in an interview is that he's kind of talking like he expects Zach Gallen to come back. And with those expanded September rosters, do you think he ever sniffs the starting rotation again, or is he going to kind of be in a similar like Littell role as a long reliever?
I just find it hard to believe that with the return of Corbin Burns and the emergence of Brandon Pfaadt coming back from his stint in AAA and him being a borderline superstar the way that he's pitching right now, you also add back Michael Soroka. You know what Erod is, and you know there's still the fill-ins with Mitch Bratt and whatnot, but you know I would much rather put Ryan Nelson into that situation once he comes back healthy. Or is Ryan done for the year too? I don't know. I haven't been able to see what's going on with that, but we know that Torey has an affinity for Zach Gallen. He loves him. He's one of those managers that is, you know, if you're my guy, you're my guy. I'm always going to go to bat for you. But it does kind of go into the case of Paul Sewald where I don't know, maybe I'm a little surprised that this did happen just with how in good standings Paul Sewald has been since 2023. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. We talk about this and we'll always talk about this. One of the main reasons the Diamondbacks went on that miraculous miracle run to the 2023 World Series was because of Paul Sewald. But his numbers have been truly atrocious the past 2.5 seasons. And it almost seems like it all went downhill in that World Series when Paul struggled. Same kind of similar to Zach Gallen. Zach hasn't been the same since that postseason run. And now we finally see the DFA. We know Torey talked about it being one of the toughest things that he's had to do, especially this year, and especially with how Paul started, you know, with the 24 saves, but, you know, 6.23 ERA, he gave up 11 earned runs over 4 2/3 innings over his past 7 outings. With a team that has expectations or wants to go to the playoffs, especially where they sit now, you can't keep putting out this guy. And it basically came down to a situation where the only time that you could even put Paul Sewald out was when you were down big time or up huge. And there's just more arms that are more trustworthy at this point, and you want to give opportunities to. So it's kind of that situation in sports, guys. You know, we thank you for your service. We appreciate what you did for us in the past, but if you're not ready to contribute right now, there's people who are ready to do it now. So it's time to go. But I'm still very intrigued to go back to your first point to see if Zach Gallen really pitches again for this team, or if it's going to be, other guys given those opportunities. I might be in Tallman's camp. I don't know if we ever see Zach Gallen pitch for the Arizona Diamondbacks again.
And I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that, honestly. We got enough arms in the rotation right now that are doing good, and I don't think we need to disrupt that by giving Zach Gallen another chance just out of loyalty or something like that, which scares me because I know that's what Torrey's all about, is loyalty to his guys. But I don't know, man. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that all shakes out. Guys, Diamondbacks are making a push. They are second, third in the wild card right now. They're doing a lot better than I would have expected at this point. I was kind of a doomer about it, but clearly there's reasons to be optimistic. So stay tuned. There'll be more to come on the Dbacks. But fellas, last official topic we have on the docket, and we do have Pass the Outlet, the return of Pass the Outlet, long awaited, next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. right here on YouTube. Mike and I will talk all things basketball and Phoenix Suns and get you caught up with everything happening in the offseason. So make sure that you're subscribed and you got that notification bell on so you can see when we go live next Tuesday. We're giving VSP Tallman the day off so he can enjoy his board meetings with the education I don't know what I'm saying. But fellas, we do have to talk a little bit of Phoenix Suns tonight. Dillon Brooks, I almost called him Dillon the villain again because he is quite villainous, gets an extension. He gets paid handsomely, and unlike some of the other guys with recent extensions, not so team friendly. It's a 3-year, $73 million contract extension through the 2029-2030 season. Mike George of Clutch Sports tells ESPN Brooks has become a key part of the Suns' two-way, hard-nosed culture under Jordan Knott and lands a new guaranteed long-term deal. Mike, what was your immediate reaction to this news?
You want my true, honest opinion, Chris? About time. This was only a matter of time. I know your feelings on Dillon Brooks, and I know that you say it's not a team-friendly deal. He's making about $24 million per year. The cap keeps going up. The Phoenix Suns are going to live within the luxury tax. They won't go over the second apron, but I don't know. We might need to watch that because if Matt Ishbia's mortgage company keeps tanking, we're going to have to be cautious and see how that money is spent on the basketball side of things for Mr. Ishbia. But this is all about continuing the culture and continuing the playoff ambitions for the foreseeable future. And that's what the Phoenix Suns need to be setting course, especially with Devin Booker kind of reaching the end of his prime, guys. Like, I know guys want to say like 30s, first couple 30s, you're in your prime. We've seen Devin Booker's prime, right? And with all the money that we paid into him, we're going to have key contributors like Dillon Brooks alongside for him for the ride and teaching these young guys. And just look at Dillon Brooks' career. All he's done is go to places and turn them around. When he went to Memphis for the first time, they were arguably the worst team in the league. And then they were the second seed his second season in Memphis. He goes to Houston and turns them into basically a perennial playoff contender his 2 years, and the second seed miraculously in 2024-2025. He earned this pay grade. Obviously, he performed from a scoring standpoint, you can say, the highest of his career from 20.2. His points per game jumped in the playoffs, albeit it was only 4 games, but 26 points per game in the playoffs, shot 45% from the field and 43% from deep. But once again, this is a play of longevity and continuity. The thing that I love the most about Dillon Brooks is not his actual athleticism or the game that he puts on the court, even though it is one, if not the mainstay that needs to be for any player, right? But his mental game is going to be able to shape some of these young pieces. And we know that he has an irrational confidence at points, but that can be such a big difference maker for young guys trying to really set themselves into their roles within the league. And for a guy who has seen multiple different roles, this past season took a different one and excelled at it. This is the kind of teacher that you need in the locker room that's seen it all, done it all, and has promises and hopes of going to the mountaintop. There's expectations from Dillon Brooks about continuously competing night in, night out, and winning at the highest level. And that should bring you excitement if you're a Phoenix Suns fan. I know you're not going to feel the same way I do, Chris, but this is my opinion. I am very excited to have Dillon Brooks signed for the long term, and we're going to see how it all pans out, especially with all these new pieces coming into the fold.
You make a lot of really good points, Mike, and maybe I need to ease up until we see how this season plays out. But my whole, basis for my logic is that there's a lot of mouths to feed, a lot of guys that like to have the ball in their hands. And like you said, Dillon Brooks can have some questionable shot selection and, drive. He gives me shades of Eric Bledsoe at times, but he can also hit it. And I've had similar feelings towards Devin Booker on his shot selection at times as well. But with bringing in Miles Bridges now, who commands the ball, still having Jalen Green on this roster, who commands the ball, it hurts to know that Devin Booker is not probably going to see the volume he deserves and that we should be seeing from him from a shooting perspective. Also, Dillon Brooks, a 30-year-old acting like an 18-year-old at times with his lack of emotional regulation on the court. I joked that he got $1 million per technical, which isn't too far off. I think he had 17 or 18 technicals last year and getting paid about $23 million a year. So I don't know, man. I'd like to see him mature a little bit. If he is going to be a veteran presence in the locker room, also be a veteran presence on the court. There's a time and a place. I'm not saying you can't ever, you can't never get a technical. And some of these refs obviously have, I don't want to say they have it out for him, but Dillon Brooks has made a reputation for himself. So when he goes out there, they're going to call him a little bit differently and have a little bit of a shorter leash, if you will, than they would for other guys. I can't get over this graphic though. It's very distracting with the tongue out. And I don't love it, Mike. I don't love it. I'll be honest with you.
Do you need me to take it off? All right, I'll take it off for you. If it changes your viewpoint on Dillon Brooks staying in the Valley, then I won't show that one again for you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. It's getting a little better. I will say it's getting a little better. We'll see how the season goes. The last thing I want to say on it is I think that the extension, I don't want to say Devin Booker is making all the decisions or, the final sign off on any decision, but he does have a lot of sway. He is the cornerstone of this franchise, the franchise player, the Suns GOAT, if you will. And so if Dillon, Jesus, I'm mixing up their names. They're too similar. If Devin Booker did not want Dillon Brooks on this team long-term, I don't think this extension would have happened. So I think to some extent, Devin Booker is happy to have his teammate Dillon Brooks locked up for the foreseeable future. Tallman, I know you're our baseball guy, you're our football guy, and we love to rib you, but I have to ask you what your thoughts are on Dillon Brooks returning for this extension here.
Yeah, so hey, at least the Dillon Brooks extension is taking your mind off of your hatred for Miles Bridges. So you got to look at the positives.
It's all Chris. A distraction. You're right.
You got shit. Actually, hit that mute button there. No, I mean, so 20. You said roughly 24 million. That doesn't seem like you're really breaking the bank. I know there's the whole luxury tax thing and then you're paying Devin Booker a whole boatload of money, but 24 million for what Dillon Brooks did for you last season. I mean, that's not terrible. Obviously, I know he's not going to have the same type of offensive output as he did last season, which I think was his best, if not one of his better offensive seasons that he's had. Granted, of course, because he shot the ball just an awful amount. But hey, I mean, I kind of like the swag to this dude. I like the character that he brings. I mean, he's hard-nosed. He's kind of like that don't F with me type dude that we need on the team. He's somebody that's going to go to bat for his teammates when someone's doing something they shouldn't be doing against the Suns. I mean, it's the type of dude that you guys have said it multiple times. You hate him when he's not on your team, but then you love him when he's on your team, except if you're Chris Patrick, then you hate him. Both scenarios, you just hate him. I'm just joking. No, I was okay with it. I like Dillon Brooks as a player. Maybe stop smoking so much pot and driving and doing all that goofy stuff, like the whole LeBron James story where he sat, courtside for his last game in LA. So I don't know. I mean, I see that. I know it's part of his stick, but I think he's great. And I don't think 24 million is an overpay. for Dillon Brooks. So I'm okay with it.
Chris, you got to admit this picture is even worse than the tongue out.
It's pretty bad. He stays posing, man. And it's funny, if you Google Miles Bridges, like one of the first pictures that pops up is him with his tongue out too. So I don't know. These guys need to keep their tongue in their mouth. I'm sure it's, just trying to get air or whatever. But guys, I haven't even mentioned the absolute worst thing about Dillon Brooks is he's Canadian. I mean, I'm kidding. We love our Canadian neighbors and all the snowbirds that come to visit us. But yeah, that picture, Mike, is pretty bad. We might have to get a Dillon Brooks collage going one of these days of all the worst pictures. But I mean, I'm sure we'll talk more Dillon Brooks, and I know we'll talk more Phoenix Suns in less than a week. So looking forward to that, Mike. Guys, this was a good, solid stream. We're at about the 60-minute mark. I still got a bit of time. Are there any other topics, anything else you're seeing, Valley Sports or otherwise related, that you wanted to rattle on about tonight? I have one thing that I think we could potentially talk about, and no, it's not the Little League World Series controversy, although that is wild. I don't know if you've seen that stuff.
I've seen that, but haven't done enough research on it. And the last thing I want to do is talk about youth sports after this past weekend at YMCA championships. But Chris, what do you got? I got some time. Break it down for us.
So again, I know we all most of us have the ESPN notifications. We probably all saw this come across our desk this morning. We did talk Cardinals early on, and about some former Cardinals. And there was another former Cardinal that was in headlines today as Kyler Murray was officially named the Minnesota Vikings starting quarterback, meaning that J.J. McCarthy will be coming. I don't know if coming off the bench would be the right terminology in football, but will be the second string quarterback behind Kyler Murray, which is kind of, I guess not surprising in a lot of ways, because when the signing happened, I guess a lot of people kind of thought like it was a 1-year flyer on a guy. You got to roll him out there, see what you got, see if you do want to shore him up long term. But they did also on the flip side of that, the Vikings had spent a pretty high first round draft pick on JJ McCarthy. I think he was like 10th or something like that, and just hasn't really panned out yet through his first 2 seasons. So curious. I mean, obviously, I think for me, I think you got to roll out Kyler Murray there to start. He is the veteran. He, has a lot of high upside, former Heisman winner. But I expect that at some point in this season, whether it's through injury or just a straight up benching, that JJ McCarthy will retake the reins. Tallman, I see you kind of having some expressions here. So what were your thoughts on Kyler Murray being named starter?
I'm not shocked at all. I mean, we all knew this. You could have called this from day one. I mean, you don't bring Kyler in there, and I mean, he was probably sold, Kyler being the one being sold, that he's going to be the starting quarterback. I'd loved hearing about some of the, the back and forth between, JJ and Kyler complaining about the snaps that he was getting, the reps he was getting in practice. And I was kind of hoping for a little bit of competition, because part of me was like, of course, Kyler goes to another team and he's just handed the job, just like he was handed anything and everything in Arizona when he was with the Cardinals. So I was hoping, praying maybe a little bit that there'd be a little bit of a quarterback controversy, maybe a little bit of a battle there going through preseason to see who was named the week 1 starter. But this comes as no surprise to me whatsoever that Kyler Murray goes to his second NFL team and is, of course, handed the starting quarterback job.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I, not loosely following this. I will not say I was following it, but you had the reports early on when the camp started where, Kyler and JJ were having like mixed answers in the media availability, where Kyler was giving the very media trained, seasoned veteran answer of, oh yeah, it's great. I'm, offering my advice where he wants it, but we're just competing and it's great and blah, blah. And JJ McCarthy was like, I don't talk to him. I don't like him. I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, oh damn, some friction there. But no, I'm also not surprised. I mean, Mike, I know we're all going to be, all eyes on Kyler and what the Vikings are doing, but what are you expecting to see from he's not even a young man anymore. I think he just turned 29. He's almost past his prime. A couple more years, he'll be past his prime.
And, after those ACL injuries, I don't think you're really a spring chicken anymore. Tallman said all of it. I mean, you're paying a guy next to nothing. Yes, J.J. McCarthy is on a rookie salary, but he was a high draft pick. He's, they've invested some capital in him. But you took Kyler Murray and brought him into the situation to see if you can give him a contract extension next year. You have to see, and you have to give him all the opportunities to see if this team can be better with him at the helm than J.J. McCarthy. I know McCarthy's a young kid, but it just seems like the struggles have outweighed anything good that he has consistently shown within his time in the NFL so far. And I don't know, man. I think it's not just Arizona Cardinals fans, but it's NFL fans in general still have such a weird intrigue with what Kyler Murray might be able to be. So this is the right decision for the Minnesota Vikings. There's a lot of outlets who are stating that he doesn't even have to be a world beater. He can be kind of a game manager with all of the weapons that the Vikings have and the great defense that they do have as well. He just has to not make the critical mistakes, and this team should be, better with him at the helm. Now, do they win the NFC East? Where is that? Are they the West or the East? I always forget.
They're in the North.
Oh, I'm not even close. But overall, maybe that should tell you, guys, I know you're saying we're going to keep tabs on it. I don't care what one iota about what Kyler Murray does this year. I got more. I'm Cardinal red through and through. I am more intrigued with everything and what the possible downfall and downtrodden year this might be. I'm more intrigued with seeing that and how the trash can burns than any kind of positives or negatives that come out of what Kyler Murray does for the Minnesota Vikings. I moved on months ago. That's really just all it is.
Yeah, that's a great point. I guess maybe I'm just the crazy ex-girlfriend that's still stalking him on social media and seeing what's up with the post. I don't know, man. There's a little intrigue. Week 1 on Sunday, September 13th. Vikings at home against the Green Bay Packers. So it'll be Kyler against his former head coach, John Gannon, on the defensive side. So there's some intrigue. I might not be watching too closely. I might just be checking box scores to see how many interceptions he throws. But I'm a hater, guys. I'm a certified hater, and you know this. Fellas, Cardinals are back in action on Thursday. Kickoff at 5 p.m. against the Raiders. Going to be watching that. I hope you are too. And we'll get back on here and talk about it soon. This Sunday, we are recording the Heat Check podcast. That'll be out next week. And past the outlet, Michael Benjamin and I will sit down and talk basketball. So fun times are ahead, boys. End of the month, we're doing our fantasy draft. So expect that you'll get a video blog, a vlog, if you will, from us as that draft happens. No longer doing it live. Became too much. We're a little too degenerate. I think Margarita Matt killed the live stream for us. That'll happen. But I thank you all for joining us and tuning in tonight. While you're here, if you're still watching, you're a real one, and we appreciate you. So you probably already subscribed, but if not, go ahead and double check. Subscribe if you will. You can follow us at all of our links below at AZ_VSP on Instagram, X, TikTok, so much more. And you can scan this nifty QR code right here. Grab your friend's phone, grab your girlfriend's phone, grab your brother's or sister's phone, scan that QR code and make sure they are subscribed too. Share it with all your friends. But for Mr. Benjamin and VSP Tallman, I'm Chris Patrick. We'll see you next time. I got to go recharge, fellas. Peace.
Things up here, and for one last time, this is Al McCoy saying thanks for being there, thanks for being with us tonight, and from the Footprint Center here in downtown Phoenix, we'll just say so long for now.